Welcome back, heroes. Today, we're diving into one of the most unique healing builds you'll ever try in Ascension WoW, the Flameweaving Pyromancer on the Rexxar server. This isn't your typical healer. We're using the warmth of flames to mend wounds, bolster allies, and keep your group standing strong even in the heat of battle. In this guide, I'll walk you through the talents, abilities, and gear choices that make this fiery healer so powerful. Whether you're in PvE content like dungeons and raids or holding the line in PvP, this build will keep your allies alive while looking absolutely awesome doing it. Let's turn healing into an inferno and get started. Alright heroes, let's go over the talent tree. Now before we get started, just to let you know, as you can see right here on the screen, there is an issue right now with the talent points, as there is a missing talent node here that needs to be addressed so that this build will be more functional. It's still playable, but you will be missing a singular node here until it's patched back in. Starting with the left-hand tree, we have Inferno Barrier. Shield an ally with Inferno Flames, absorbing 298 damage. While active, attackers take 53 fire damage each time they deal damage to you. Lasts 30 seconds. We can throw this on any individual that we have, including the tanks. Dragon's Leap. Leap into the air, making your next Slag Stone or Slag Mend instant while airborne and resetting its cooldown. Slag Stone causes you to crash into the enemy, dealing fire damage and slowing them by 85% for 1 second. Slag Mend causes you to descend into or onto an ally, healing them and nearby allies within 4 yards for 12 to 15. We have Infernus. Slag Stone now deals 10% of its its direct damage as periodic fire damage every 1 second for 6 seconds, whereas Slag Mend now heals for 5% of its direct heal as periodic every 1 second for 3 seconds. Periodic damage or healing cannot critically strike. Blessing of the Firelands increases our critical strike chance by 2%. Scorching Sermon, dealing damage with Scorching Ray or Draconic Fang, extends the duration of Ignite and Blaze on the target by 1 second up to their maximum durations. We have Boil Still, incapacitate an enemy for 40 seconds, 8 seconds for regular players, and remove all magic effects. Any damage dealt will interrupt this effect. We have 2 points into Flamer, increasing our spell haste by 6%. Flame Step, rush forward 25 yards in a blaze of fire, dealing 186 fire damage to enemies in your path, dispelling all roots and slows from yourself. Overheat triggers with a 25% reduced cooldown. Dark Gaze, increase the range of Flame Step by 10 yards. Molten Rapacity, reduces the cooldown of Flame Step by 20 seconds and Dragon's Leap by 10 seconds. Flame Casting, fire damage critical strikes now grant Flame Casting. Flame Casting increases your spell haste by 5% for 15 seconds, stacks 5 times. Additional applications do not refresh duration. Apocalypse, dealing fire damage has a 40% chance to slow the target's movement speed by 10% for 6 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. We went with Al Dente. Targets affected by Boil now take 15% increased fire damage. Most of these skills are not going to be beneficial for this build, as we don't entirely do damage, but we can in order to get extra healing out. Volcanic Shell, shield an ally, absorbing 2,539 damage. While the shield holds, attackers take 303 fire damage each time they deal damage to the target, lasts 10 seconds. Cataclysm, launch into the air, dealing 10 fire damage and knocking back enemies within 6 yards. Upon landing, deal 10 fire damage and knock back enemies within 6 yards. Usable while stunned. Fiery Intent, reduces the cooldown of Cataclysm by 30 seconds. Pyromancy, direct critical strikes have a 20% chance to refresh a target charge of overheat. Magma Guardian, increases the effectiveness of your skin spells by 50%. Focused Fire, allows 40% of your mana regeneration to continue while casting and increases maximum mana by 3%. Rekindle, imbue an ally with fiery power, restoring 5% of their maximum mana every 1 second for 7 seconds. Overheat restores an additional 3% maximum mana each tick. Cinderfield, Meteor now creates a field of cinders on the ground for 12 seconds, dealing 166 fire damage over 12 seconds. This point was just put in here to get us further down in the tree, as we don't have Meteor. If you don't really want the barrier, you could remove this and go with Meteor instead. Purifying Flames. increases Rekindle by 3 seconds. Slag Drenched. Slag Stone increases all magical damage the target takes by 3% for 8 seconds. Slag Mend increases all healing the target receives by 6% for 10 seconds. Of course, we also still have Ignis Ultimatus, channel for 1.5 seconds, gathering a surge of fiery power before unleashing it in a 50-yard line, dealing 1,153 fire damage to enemies while also healing allies for 1,182. Ignores absorption, deflection, and reflection, cannot be resisted. Flame Casting increases the spell's damage and healing by 15% per stack. And of course, we have the passive, Ignis Fatalis. Ignis Ultimatus is now guaranteed to critically strike, has 20% more critical damage, and channels at 0.5 seconds faster. On to the Flameweaving tree. We have Ember Touch. Warm an ally with everlasting flames, healing them for 318, scaling with your spirit, and surrounds them with fire for 0 seconds, dealing 6 fire damage to melee attackers. Overheat, instant cast, and guaranteed to critically strike. Phoenix Egg. Summon a phoenix for 30 seconds at the target location and heals nearby allies for 76 every 2.75 seconds. Weaves of the Sage. Casting Scorching Ray or Blaze now reduces the cast time of your next Ember Touch by 15% for 12 seconds, stacking 2 times. Cauterize Wounds. Cauterize an ally's wounds, healing them for 2% of their maximum health every 2 seconds for 10 seconds, and removes 2 bleed effects. Tides of Fire. Unleash a Tide of Fire in a 40-yard line, healing allies for 368 and dealing 368 damage to enemies. Overheat. Guaranteed to critically strike. Phoenix Handler. Casting Slagstone now causes your Phoenix to heal allies within 15 yards of it for 157. Invigoration. Healing done by your Phoenix grants Invigoration, increasing the healing of your next Slagmen by 10%, stacking 8 times for 20 seconds. Phoenix Dive. 3 charges, 12 seconds per recharge. Command your Phoenix to swoop to the target ally, healing up to 10 allies in its path for 105 every 0.5 seconds. Each use reduces the cooldown of Phoenix Egg by 10% every 0.5 seconds for 1.5 seconds. Hot and Dangerous. Casting Slag Mend and Scorching Ray now reduces the cooldown of Tides of Fire and Cauterizing Wounds by 2 seconds. Healing done by Slagmend Flame Walking. Healing done by Slagmend increases healing of your next Ember Touch on the target by 10%, stacking 2 times for 20 seconds. Ember Charm. Overheat now increases the healing of your next Ember Touch or Slagmend by 15%. Casting Sunstrider Array. Casting Scorching Ray now heals up to 5 allies within 30 yards of your target for 81. Flameweaving. Healing critical strikes grant flame casting. You now also generate mana equal to 15% of your spirit every 5 seconds. Flame casting increases your spell haste by 5% for 15 seconds. Stacks 5 times. Additional applications do not refresh duration. Infernity. Overheat now also overheats your Phoenix, increasing its healing done by 15% for 8 seconds. Gaining Infernity causes the Phoenix to create a torrent of fire at its destination, dealing 66 fire damage to nearby enemies every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. Touched by Fire. Increases the bonus healing scaling of Slagmen by 24%. Spirit of Fire. Increases your spirit by 10%. Cleansing Flames. Spread Cleansing Flames on 5 enemies, or allies and enemies in front of you in a 15-yard cone, damaging or healing for 1,401 and draining 1% max mana every 0.5 seconds for 6 seconds. Overheat. Damage and healing increased by 30%. Phoenix Forge. Effective critical strikes with Ember Touch now refreshes a charge of Phoenix Dive. Meteoric Rise. Casting Meteor and Cataclysm now grants nearby allies a shield, absorbing 287 damage, scaling with your spirit and lasts 8 seconds. Scorched Earth. Increases the duration of Cleansing Flames by 3 seconds and increases its tick rate by 25%. Inferno. Channel for 5 seconds, engulfing party members and raid members within 40 yards, in Cleansing Flames, healing them for 420 every 1 second. At the end of the duration, party and raid members are healed for 983 to 1003, unable to move or cancel this effect while channeling. Scepter of Fire. When Inferno ends, all enemies within 15 yards are stunned for 5 seconds. Several of the abilities that I picked on here relate to Meteor. Unfortunately, because there is an error right now to this, it does not allow me to redo these trees at the same time. For our passives, we currently have Flameweaving for level 10. Periodic damage dealt now triggers Lantern Tender. Healing the lowest health ally within 30 yards for 80. Can trigger once every half a second. Does not heal pets. Flameweaving, level 15 passive. Increased healing spell power by 25% of spirit, and critical strike chance by 15% of spirit. Flameweaving, level 30 passive, allows Lantern Tender to heal up to 5 allies. Flameweaving level 40 passive, healing done by Lantern Tender now has a 25% chance to apply Slag Forged Armor to allies, absorbing 79 damage, scaling with spirit. And Flameweaving level 50 passive. Critical strikes with Ember Touch now combust on your target, burning up to 5 nearby enemies for 258 to 275 fire damage over 9 seconds. For the most part, the only thing I can actually show you in this is going to be the healing on myself, which I can use multiple different types here. As unfortunately, like I said, without doing a dungeon, it doesn't really let me do much. This is going to be the Cleansing Flame spell, which leads into us being able to launch our big boom. We have Tides of Fire. Does damage and heals. We have Inferno Barrier. This will pop it on ourselves. We get this every 20 seconds. We have Inferno. This is channeled. And at the end of it, it explodes and does mass healing. We have our Dragon's Leap, which allows us to use Slag Mend at a mass increase when we're coming down. And we have Keel's Command. If our Phoenix was still up, we can use this to command our Phoenix to stand still and just radiate healing energy. To go dormant for 10 seconds. While dormant, it radiates healing to allies within 15 yards for 138 every 1 second and reduces the cooldown of Phoenix eggs by 10% for 1 second. That is, in the most part, what we're going to do. We can do damage with this and get healing done that way as well. Let's see here. Just to show you, we could use... As far as DPS going, for that you could heal with it, you can use Scorching Ray to allow it to heal. You can put Blaze on a target, which also gives you healing over time. We have Slag Stone, Pillar of Flame, and this just gives us other opportunities to not only help with boss fights, mobs, and things of that nature, but being able to get periodic healing done as we go. We can also get casts of flame casting up while doing this. Overall, the Pyromancer has a huge amount of ability for healing, whether that's through damage or through healing spells in of itself. As far as gear goes, this guy is not really set up for healing right now. I'm still using a lot of intellect gear versus spirit gear. but we want to get as much spirit and intellect as we want, though primarily we want to get spirit, as we're going to get all of our bonuses from that. When it comes to what stats we need here, we want to be looking for haste rating, as this allows us to cast spells faster. We want crit hit chance, as this allows us to hit with our heals a lot harder. And then we want to get spell power. Spell power will increase our bonus healing when we do get a heal off. And that wraps up our look at the Flameweaving Pyromancer Healing Build. With this setup, you're not just a healer, you're a blazing beacon for your team, turning fire into life and keeping your allies fighting through the toughest encounters. If this guide helped you, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another Ascension WoW build. Share your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear how you make this build your own. Keep your allies warm, their health bars full, and as always, stay heroic. Peace out, guildies.